Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Wednesday, April 13th, 2022. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's NBA, NHL, and MLB games, look ahead to today's games in each sport. Then we will look at the tee time to make a pick for the Heritage Classic. I'll do my latest NFL mock draft. We'll preview tonight's episodes of The Masked Singer and Survivor, news and notes, and best bet. All right, we'll start with the NBA. The play-in tournament, day one, was last night with two actually pretty decent games. And then we'll look ahead to tonight's two games. The East, 7th versus 8th. Nets over the Cavs, 115-108. As Brooklyn will be your 17, and Cleveland will play the winner of the Hornets-Hawks game tonight to determine the 8th seed. And the Timberwolves come back to beat the Clippers 109-104 as the Timberwolves move on to the playoffs to face the Memphis Grizzlies. And the Clippers will play the Spurs-Pelicans winner for the right to be the 8th seed on Friday night. Kyrie Irving had 34, as did Darius Garland. And then in the West game, Anthony Edwards had 30, Paul George 34. Karl-Anthony Towns was terrible. He fouled out. But Minnesota recovered and won that game, amazingly enough. All right, 7 o'clock ESPN tonight. Hornets-Hawks from Atlanta. My projection is Atlanta by 2.5, total 233. And that's factoring the injuries to Gordon Hayward and John Collins. And it's 5 and 235. I'm going to take Charlotte getting to 5. I think this will be a close game. I think everybody's pumping up Trae Young and the Hawks right now. No, I don't know if Charlotte's going to win or not. I don't think so. I think Atlanta will win, but it'll be closer than they think there. Kind of like Cavs Nets last night. And 9:30 on ESPN, 9th versus 10th in the West, Spurs Pelicans. My projection is New Orleans by 4, total 233 and 17/20, and it's 5 and 225. I love the over. Love it. I think Brandon Ingram's going to play. I think DeJounte Murray's going to have a big game. I think the Pelicans will win this game. I have a slight edge on San Antonio, but I really do like the over in this game a ton. And I like the under in the Hornets game too, but I would do like a same game for the under in the Hornets. And then in the other game, I'll do Pelicans money line and the over. It's the same game parlay, but the actual picks, Hornets plus 5 and San Antonio, New Orleans over 225 for tonight. All right, the NHL, some big games last night that I'd like to go over. And we'll look ahead to, I believe it's a 3-game window for tonight. Blues over the Bruins 4-2. The Blues 43-20-10. Boston 43-20 or 45-23-5. Number 3 started game with 2 assists, Pavel Buchnevich. Number 2 started game with a goal and assist, Troy Krug. And the number 1 started game with 2 goals, Vladimir Tarasenko. Sabres over the Maple Leafs 5-2. Sabres 27-37-11. Toronto 47-20-6. The number 3 started game with 24 saves on 26 shots. Craig Anderson, number 2 started game with 2 assists. Alex Tuck, number 1 started game with a goal and assist, Rasmus Dahlin. Panthers over the Ducks 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Jonathan Huberdeau. Florida 52-15-6. Anaheim 29-33-13. Number 3 started game with a goal, Jonathan Huberdeau. Number 2 started game with 52 saves on 55 shots. John Gibson, number 1 started game with 2 goals, Anthony Duclair. Hurricanes over the Rangers 4-2. Canes 48-18-8. Rangers 47-21-6. Number 3 started game with his 50th goal of the year, Chris Kreider. Number 2 started game with the goal and assist, Seth Jarvis. Number 1 started game with the goal and 2 assists, Sebastian Aho. Capitals over the Flyers 9-2. Easy best bet winner. Washington 41-22-10. Philly 23-39-11. Number 3 started game with the goal and an assist. Matthew Irvin. Number 2 started game with the goal and assist going to Johan Larsson. And the number 1 started game with 2 goals, Lars Eller. Sends over the Red Wings 4-1. Sends 27-14-6. Detroit 28-39 or 35-10. Number 3 started game with 24 saves on 25 shots, Anton Forsberg. Number 2 started game with the assist, Maurice Seider. Number 1 started game with the assist, Josh Norris. Islanders over the Penguins 5-4 in a shootout. Isles 34-29-9. Pittsburgh 42-22-11. Number 3 started game with 2 goals and an assist, Jake Gensel. Number 2 started game with 2 goals, Josh Bailey. Number 1 started game with 43 saves on 47 shots, Ilya Sorokin. Wild over the Oilers 5-1. The Wild 45-21-6. Edmonton 42-26-6. Number 3 started the game. Didn't have a point, but just played well. Jonas Brodin. Number 2 started the game with 2 goals. Ryan Hartman. Number 1 started the game with 2 goals to Kevin Fiala. Preds over the Sharks 1-0 in overtime on a game winner by Ryan Johansson. Nashville 42-26-5. San Jose 29-33-10. Number 3 started the game. Just played well. No points. Mark Borowiecki. Number 2 started the game with the overtime winner, Ryan Johansson. Number 1 started the game with 25 saves on 25 shots, Juicy Soros. Kings over the Blackhawks, 5-2. The Kings, 39-26-10. Chicago, 24-38-11. Number 3 started the game with 2 goals, Blake Lizotte. Number 2 started the game with 2 assists, Victor Fritz. And number 1 started the game with the goal and assist, Philip Deneau. Flames over the Kraken, 5-3. The Flames 45-19-9. The Kraken 23-44-6. Number 3 started the game with the goal and assist, Noah Hannafin. Number 2 started the game with a hat trick, Matt Tkachuk. Number 1 started the game with 2 assists, Johnny Gaudreau. Stars over Lightning 1-0. Stars 42-27-4. Tampa 44-21-8. Number 3 started the game with 28 saves on 29 shots, Andrei Vasilevsky. Number 2 started the game with 25 saves on 25 shots, Scott Wedgwood. Number 1 started the game with the game-winning goal, Roope Hintz. Canucks over the Golden Knights 5-4 in overtime on a game winner by Quinn Hughes. Vancouver 36-28-10. Vegas 40-29-5. Number 2 started the game with the goal and assist, Quinn Hughes. Number 2 started the game with 2 goals, Shea Theodore. Number 1 started the game with the goal and 2 assists, Elias Pettersson. Devils over the Coyotes 6-2. Devils 26-41-6. Arizona 22-46-5. Number 3 started the game with the goal and assist, Nick Schmaltz. Number 2 started the game with the goal and an assist, Fabian Zetterlund. And the number 1 started the game with 2 goals and an assist, Yegor Sharangovich. All right, now we look ahead to tonight. 3 games. 7 o'clock TNT, Rangers Flyers from Philly. The Rangers are minus 200, Philly plus 164, over under 6, overs minus 114, unders minus 106. Rangers minus 1.5 is plus 130, Philly plus 1.5 is minus 156. I'm going to go with the over. It'll probably be Alexander Georgiev and net tonight, so I like the over. But I do think the Rangers are likely to win too. The regulation line is too high. Canadians Blue Jackets. Columbus minus 162, Montreal plus 134, over under 6.5, overs even money, unders minus 122. Montreal plus 1.5 is minus 176, Columbus minus 1.5 is plus 146. I'm going to go with the over in this game. Kraken Jets postponed makeup date May 1st. I wonder if this was a result to like traveling or whatever. 9:30 TNT, the Kings and the Avalanche. The Avs are minus 245. The Kings are plus 198. Over under 6. Overs minus 120. Unders minus 102. Kings plus 1.5 is minus 128. Avs minus 1.5 is plus 106. The Kings need the game. Because these other teams in their conference, in their own division, are coming. They have 88 points. Vegas has 85. Vancouver is 82. Kings are no guarantee to make the playoffs, by any stretch of the imagination. So, and this is the other TNT game. Avs in regulation is probably too high. But I'm going to go with the draw, plus 370 at the end of regulation, only because I really think that LA is going to give their A effort on the road on the second of a back-to-back in a game they absolutely have to have. So I'm going to go with the draw at plus 370. All right, Major League Baseball. We'll look back on yesterday's games, and we look ahead to tonight's games. All right, Red Sox over the Tigers 5-3. Red Sox 2-3. Detroit 2-3. Guardians over the Reds 10-5. Guardians 3-2. Reds 2-3. White Sox over the Mariners 3-2. White Sox 3-1. Seattle 2-3. Cubs over the Pirates 2-1. The Cubs 3-1. Pittsburgh 1-3. Rays over the A's 9-8 and 10 on a walk-off RBI single by Manuel Margot. Rays 4-1. Oakland 2-3. Mets over the Phillies 2-0. Mets 4-2. Phillies 3-2. Brewers over the Orioles 5-4. Brewers 2-3. Baltimore 1-4. Yankees over the Blue Jays 4-0. Yankees 3-2. Toronto 3-2. Angels over the Marlins 4-3. Angels 3-3. Marlins 1-4. Braves over the Nationals 16-4. Braves 3-3. Nats 2-4. Dodgers over the Twins 7-2. The Dodgers 2-2. Twins 2-3. Cardinals over the Royals 6-5. Cardinals 3-1. Royals 2-3. Rocks over the Rangers 4-1. Rocks 4-1. Texas 1-4. Astros over the D-backs 2-1. Astros 4-1. Arizona 1-4. And the Giants over the Padres 13-2. The Giants 3-2. The Padres are 4-2. All right, now we look ahead to today's games. 12:20, you have the Nationals and the Braves. Josiah Gray and Max Fried. So we're back around to the opening day starters for a lot of these teams. Braves minus 220, Nats plus 184 over under 8.5. Overs minus 118, unders minus 104. Nats plus 1.5 is minus 120. Braves minus 1.5 is even money. I'm going to go with the ballsy pick of the Braves money line and even money. 12:30, Cubs Pirates. Kyle Hendricks and Zach Thompson. Cubs minus 126. Pirates plus 108. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. Cubs minus 1.5 is plus 128. Pirates plus 1.5 is minus 154. I'm going to go with the under. Guardians Reds. Tristan McKenzie and Nick Lodolo. Reds minus 126. Guardians plus 108. Over under 9.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Guardians plus 1.5 is minus 192. Reds minus 1.5 is plus 198. I love the Guardians plus 108 to beat the Reds. 1 o'clock, Mets Phillies. Max Scherzer and Aaron Nola. Phillies minus 118. Mets even money. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. Mets minus 1.5 is plus 172. Phillies plus 1.5 is minus 210. I'm going to go with the Mets at even money. Red Sox Tigers. Nathan Eovaldi and Eduardo Rodriguez. So Rodriguez against his former team. Red Sox minus 134. Tigers plus 114. Over under 8. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. Red Sox minus 1.5 is plus 136. Tigers plus 1.5 is minus 164. I'm going to go with the Tigers at plus 114 to knock off Boston. Eduardo Rodriguez will pitch well against his old team. Dodgers Twins. Clayton Kershaw and Chris Paddock. Paddock making his Twins debut. Dodgers minus 168. Twins plus 142. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Dodgers minus 1.5 is plus 112. Twins plus 1.5 is minus 134. I like the over now that the price dropped. 115, Royals Cardinals. Zach Greinke and Adam Wainwright. Cards minus 156. Royals plus 132. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Royals plus 1.5 is minus 152. Cards minus 1.5 is plus 126. I'm going to go with the under here at minus 115. 3:30 Astros D-backs. Framber Valdez and Merrill Kelly. Astros minus 158. D-backs plus 134. Over under 9. Overs minus 102. Unders minus 120. Astros minus 1.5 is plus 110. D-backs plus 1.5 is minus 132. I'm going to go with the over in this game, but I don't feel good about it. 3:45, Padres Giants. Sean Manaea, Logan Webb. So a lot of West Coast games are early today, which is interesting. Giants minus 138. Padres plus 118. Over under 7.5. Overs even money. Unders minus 122. Padres plus 1.5 is minus 196. Giants minus 1.5 is plus 162. I'm going to go with the Padres. I like Sean Manaea a lot. I think he's going to pitch well again. 6:30, A's Rays. Frankie Montas and Shane McClanahan. Rays minus 188. A's plus 158. Over under 7.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. A's plus 1.5 is minus 138. Rays minus 1.5 is plus 115. Tough one. I'm going to go with the over. Contrarian over. Minus 105. 7 o'clock, Brewers Orioles. Corbin Burns and John Means. Brewers minus 188. Orioles plus 158. Over under 2. Or 8. Overs minus 102. Unders minus 120. God, if the total is 2, it's an overlock. Brewers minus 1.5 is minus 108. Orioles plus 1.5 is minus 111. I'm going to go Orioles run line. Plus 1.5 and minus 111. I don't have the balls to go with the money line, because I think there's a chance the bullpen blows it. This is a John Means play, so I'm going to go Orioles run line. Plus 1.5 is minus 111. But I also like Orioles first half plus 210. I'm going to go with that actually instead. Orioles first half plus 210. I like that a lot better. Next up, Blue Jays Yankees from the stadium. Garrett Cole against Jose Barrios, so it's the battle of the aces. Yikes at Jose Barrios' ERA. Yanks minus 166, Blue Jays plus 140, over under 8, overs minus 118, unders minus 104. Blue Jays plus 1.5 is minus 150, Yanks minus 1.5 is plus 125. I love the under. I think both pitchers bounce back from rocky opening days. Cole kind of found his footing on opening day. Barrios was just outright awful. But I think both guys will be better today, so like under 8 minus 104. Blue Jays and under would be like a fun parlay, but I don't know if the Blue Jays are going to beat Garrett Cole. And last but not least, the Mariners and the White Sox, Robbie Ray and Dallas Keuchel. White Sox minus 112, Mariners minus 104, over under 9, minus 110 each way. Mariners minus 1.5 is plus 140, White Sox plus 1.5 is minus 172. I'm going to go with the Mariners again, minus 104. Robbie Ray's better to Dallas Keuchel. I do think Dallas Keuchel will have a better year, but he will get outpitched today by Robbie Ray. All right, now I'll move on to golf. It will be the Heritage Classic this time around. Should be fun, of course, as it always is. So tee times tomorrow, 7 o'clock. You have Henry Higgs, Cam Young, Sam Ryder. 7:21. Now I'm just going to go through notables. Doug Gibb, Kevin Stroman, Russell Knox, Roger Sloan, Emiliano Grillo. 7:32. Mito Pereira, Kramer Hickok, Charles Schwartzel, Pat Perez, James Hahn, J.J. Spawn, Adam Putnam. Actually, Spawn 7:43. With Saiwoo Kim, Charlie Hoffman, Kevin Na, Luke List. 7:54. Joel Dahman, Carlos Ortiz, Kevin Tway. 8:05. Taylor Hogue, Lucas Glover, Jason Kokrak, Hudson Swafford. 8:16. Cam Davis, Corey Connors, Daniel Berger, Lucas Donald, Tyrell Hatton, Mackenzie Hughes. 8:27. Richie Wierenski, Tyler Duncan, Brad Horschel, Kevin Kisner, Patrick Cantlay. 8:38. Justin Thomas, Shane Lowry, Jordan Spieth, Adam Long. 8:49. Adam Schenk, Dylan McCarthy, Nate Watney, Chris Kirk, Bayo Hostler, Chasen Hadley. 9 o'clock, Henrik Norlander, Doc Redman, Joseph Brumlett, Ryan Henley, Ben Martin. 11:50, William Byron, Alex Loren, Ian Poulter, Cam Triangle, Maverick McNeely. 12:01, Aaron Weiss, Camilo Vegas, Sam Piercy, Tommy Fleetwood, Brock Stewart. 12-12. Wyndham Clark, Bryce Garnett, Harold Varner III, Matt Hoffman, Matt Fitzpatrick, Bill Haas. 12-23. Patton Kazir, Brendan Todd, Kyle Lee, Dylan Fratelli. 12-34. JT Potson, Lucas Griffin, Nate Taylor, Brant Snecker. 12-45. Sebastian Munoz, Ches Revade, Zach Johnson, Chungson Pong. 12-56. Colin Moriqua, Ricky Fowler, Webb Simpson. 107. Joaquin Neiman, Sanjay M, Evan Van Royen, Brian Harmon, Cam Smith, Joaquin Herman, Sepp Straka. It's at 118 with Dustin Johnson, Matt Kuchar, Scott Stallings. 129. Brandon Hagee, Matthew Neesmith, Danny Lee, Troy Merritt, Adam Hadwin. 140. Mariano Gillick. And that's really it among notables. For a pick, though, for this tournament, I do have a name in mind. It's somebody that did very well in Augusta last weekend. I think he's going to carry the momentum over to the Heritage. And that, my friends, oof. I don't like that he's co-favored, though. I want to pick Colin Moriqua. But he's the co-favorite. And you know I feel about favorites in golf. I'm going to back that one off. There's another name I had in my mind. I believe in do. His name is Webb Simpson. He's 29-1. But someone else that had a promising Masters is also 29-1. Now he's going to be my pick. That's Sanjay M. I'm going to go with Sanjay M. 29-1 to win the RBC Heritage 2022. Alrighty. Now I'm going to do my NFL mock draft. It's my latest one. I haven't done one in a long time because of March Madness and all that. There's been so many trades since then. The draft is 2 weeks from tomorrow, so mock drafts are going to be very popular on the podcast. We might actually do 2 next week and then 1 every day the following week. All right. Number 1, Jacksonville Jaguars, Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end, Michigan. No exclamations needed. Best guy in the draft. People are comparing him to the likes of Chase Young and Myles Garrett and some other great pass rushers that we've seen come out the last few years. Number 2, the Detroit Lions. Trayvon Walker, defensive end, Georgia. Trayvon Walker's stock is rising up. There's some people that think that he'll go first over Aiden Hutchinson, which I think is wild. But I do think Trayvon Walker will be a steady player. Number 3, the Houston Texans. Kayvon Thibodeau, defensive end, Oregon. This is arguably the best player in the draft. He's very talented. He reminds a lot of people of Jadeveon Clowney, so it's only fitting he's going to Houston in this mock. And it'd be fitting if he was drafted by Houston. But Thibodeau, some people see falling out of the top 5, which I think would be silly. Number 4, the New York Jets. Ahmed Sauce Gardner, cornerback, Cincinnati. I love Sauce Gardner. I think he is really aggressive. He's somebody that is just a ball hog on that side of the ball. And he would really bring good dividends to the Jets secondary and their defense as a whole. Number 5, the New York Giants. Evan Neal, offensive tackle, Alabama. I think that Evan Neal's the best lineman in the draft. He's versatile. He's somebody that could play multiple positions. He could also play inside as well if needed. Him and Andrew Thomas is a good foundation for for the Giants' offensive line. Number 6, the Carolina Panthers. Kenny Pickett, quarterback Pitt. This is too high for a quarterback, but you know how teams are with quarterbacks and how crazy they are about them in the drafts. Kenny Pickett obviously was a Heisman candidate last year. People are talking themselves into him from an upside standpoint, but I don't know if any of these guys are going to be stars, per se. But these teams are just so desperate. Number 8, the Atlanta Falcons. Jamison Williams, wide receiver, Alabama. Jamison Williams coming off a torn ACL, which could have teams pass on him. But I do like Williams a lot. He's a great player. And the Falcons badly need a receiver to replace Calvin Ridley. Number 9, the Seattle Seahawks from the Denver Broncos. Jermaine Johnson, defensive end, Florida State. I'm not the biggest Jermaine Johnson fan. I don't think he's a guy that is guaranteed to go in the top 10. But he'll certainly help a big weakness on the Seahawks roster. Number 10, the New York Jets from the Seattle Seahawks. Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, Ohio State. Garrett Wilson is getting a lot of pop in terms of getting drafted higher than people may expect. This is obviously the Jets pick from the Jamal Adams deal. The Jets need more help around Zach Wilson. I do like Garrett Wilson a lot. Wilson the Wilson. Number 11, the Washington Commanders. Drake London, wide receiver, USC. For some reason, there's folks down on London, but I'm not. I think London's going to be amazing. They need another guy to catch passes from to go with Terry McLaurin in that offense. And Carson Wentz. Number 12, the Minnesota Vikings. Kyle Hamilton, safety, Notre Dame. I like Kyle Hamilton. I don't know why his stock is dropping. I think he is a really good safety. Could be a Pro Bowl caliber player. Number 13, Houston Texans from the Cleveland Browns. Devontae Wyatt, defensive tackle, Georgia. To yourself, you're probably thinking, why is Houston loading up on pass rushers and defensive linemen? Which would be, some would find dumb, others would find wise, because this team has a ton of holes. You just need the best assets possible. Best player available if you're Houston. And for some reason, teams aren't mocking them to take a quarterback as much as people like Davis Mills. Number 14, the Baltimore Ravens. George Karlaftis, defensive end, Purdue. Karlaftis is somebody whose stock is dropping too, but I like Karlaftis. He could be a really steady player at that position for years to come, like somebody like Trayvon Walker, per se. Like those two are very similar, I think. 15, the Philadelphia Eagles. Trent McDuffie, cornerback, Washington. This isn't their pick. This is their pick via or from Miami that they got in that trade last year. I like McDuffie a lot. Probably the second or third best corner in the draft, depending on how you feel about some other players. Philadelphia doesn't really have a good secondary, so he could help. And actually skipped one. Number 7, the New York Giants from the Chicago Bears. Derek Stingley, cornerback, safety, LSU. I love Stingley. I think that he was just bored in college and had a lot of injury problems. He was dropping, and now he's rising again. But I do think that Stingley will have an impact wherever he goes. I can't believe I skipped that one. Maybe because I saw NYG down twice and just didn't think anything of it, that they had 2 first-round picks. I should have known that. Or should have remembered that. Where did I leave off? 16, New Orleans Saints from Indianapolis via Philly. Malik Willis, quarterback, Liberty. I think a big reason why New Orleans wants 2 first-round picks in this draft is because they want a quarterback that they could develop behind Jameis Winston. Willis has some upside, but I don't know if he is going to be a star in the league. Number 17, the Los Angeles Chargers. Charles Cross, offensive tackle, Mississippi State. I think it's crazy that he's fallen this far. He's a really good player, and it's just wild that somebody as talented as he falls this far. Just another steal for the Chargers. Number 18, the Philadelphia Eagles from the New Orleans Saints. Treylon Burks, wide receiver, Arkansas. Philly needs more receivers other than Devontae Smith to help Jalen Hurts develop. I think this is a make-or-break season coming up for Jalen. I think he knows that. There's a reason why Philly doubled up with 2 picks in next year's draft. So, might as well give him his shot and get him a wide receiver in Treylon Burks. That could help him. Number 19, the New Orleans Saints from the Philadelphia Eagles. Trevor Penning, offensive tackle, Northern Iowa. I like Penning a lot. Good player. He's somebody that I think people are down on because he went to an FCS school, but a very likely first-round pick for now. Number 20, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Matt Corral, quarterback, Ole Miss. Corral put up monster stats in college, but like I said, I don't know if any of these quarterbacks are really going to be big stars per se. But they need like a long-term type of guy. I don't know if Mitch Trubisky's that. Number 21, the New England Patriots. Ike Ekwonu, offensive tackle, guard, NC State. This is a guy that I know will not really fall this far, but this is how my mock draft worked this time around. This would be a steal if New England got him at that number. Number 12, the Green Bay Packers from the Las Vegas Raiders. Jordan Davis, defensive tackle, Georgia. Another Georgia defensive tackle going. This is not going to be a favorite for Packers fans as they just want offense. But Davis is a solid player. He would fit right in with Kenny Clark on the defensive line. Number 23, the Arizona Cardinals. David Ajabu, defensive end, Michigan. This is a neat pick for Arizona as they lost Chandler Jones in free agency to Miami. So, good pickup for Arizona with that spot. Number 24, the Dallas Cowboys. Tyler Smith, offensive tackle, Tulsa. Tyler Smith's stock's going up. He's somebody that I think could go late first. I like the fit there in Dallas. 25, the Buffalo Bills. Andrew Booth Jr., cornerback, Clemson. Buffalo could use some help in the secondary. Booth was a great player in college. I think he'll help the Bills. 26, the Tennessee Titans. Devin Lloyd, linebacker, Utah. People have quarterbacks in this spot, but I don't see it. Tennessee needs playmakers, especially on the defensive side of the ball. 27, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Zion Johnson, guard, Boston College. I like Zion Johnson. I think that he could go here at the end of the first round. And Tampa needs a guard to replace Ali Marpet, who retired. 28, the Green Bay Packers. Chris Olave, wide receiver, Ohio State. This would be a steal for Green Bay. I love Olave. Entertaining, fun player to watch. Could become the new number 1 in Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers. 29, the Kansas City Chiefs from the Miami Dolphins via the San Francisco 49ers. Christian Watson, wide receiver, North Dakota State. Here's another FCS player, someone under the radar in Watson, who put up some good stats on a championship team in North Dakota State. In case he needs to replace Tyreek Hill's production somehow. Number 30, the Kansas City Chiefs. Boy Mafe, defensive end, Minnesota. KC needs some pass rush help too, with guys like Chris Jones aging, getting a little older. 31, the Cincinnati Bengals. Kyler Gordon, cornerback, Washington. Cincinnati has a solid team. They're just in the Super Bowl. I like Gordon on this team a lot. just a good fit running with some veterans there. In 32, the Detroit Lions from the Los Angeles Rams. Desmond Ridder, quarterback, Cincinnati. I don't know if Jared Goff's the guy going forward. Desmond Ridder, a lot of people talk about him that he might actually be the best guy in the class, but we shall see about that. He was a really good quarterback in college, but I don't know how that would translate to the NFL, especially on a roster like the Lions. All right, so that's it for my mock draft, and now up, I'm going to talk about tonight's episode of The Masked Singer. It should be a lot of fun to get unmasked tonight. And I think that it's going to be somewhat interesting because one of the contestants last week kind of broke out in a big way that I wasn't expecting. And that was Miss Teddy, who went last week. But Ringmaster, who is a consensus favorite in Group B, went first, sang Super Bass by Nicki Minaj. Her mega clue is a guitar and the 90s. Ken Jeong went with Taylor Swift, which is the dumbest guest of the episode. Nicole Byer was the guest panelist. She said Olivia Rodrigo and Alanis Morissette. Nicole Scherzinger said Zara Larson. My guess is Emily Osmond because of the Hannah Montana clues. She's somebody that has some songs out of her own, and she does some acting as well, so I think it's Emily Osmond. And she was born in the 90s. Next up was Armadillo, and Armadillo performed I Fought the Law by the Bobby Fuller Tour. The mega clues were keys and a motorcycle. I'm getting somewhat comedian vibes, and the person's throwing everybody off. Kind of think this might be Howie Mandel, but I don't feel really good about it. Nicole Scherzinger said Garrett Busey. Nicole Byers said Jay Leno, which was dumb. And Jenny had a good guess of William H. Macy. Then went Hydra. They performed Sharp Dressed Man by ZZ Top. Their mega clue was a deck of cards and a Joker's. Jenny had a terrible guess of Bert and Ernie. Robin said Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I said Steve Buscemi and John Goodman. Celebrity BFF was Gilbert Gottfried, who just passed away, which is really, really sad. So he literally just passed away. Yesterday, I think. Yeah. That's really sad that he was the celeb BFF. Now he unfortunately passed. And last was Miss Teddy performing Tell Me You Love Me by Demi Lovato. The mega clue was a Grammy. I went with Gloria Gaynor, so did Jenny. Nicole Byers said Jennifer Hudson. And Nicole Scherzinger said CeCe Pence. And then there was a duel between Armadillo and Hydra. Armadillo sang Walking the Dog by Rufus Thomas. And Hydra sang Two Princes by Spin Doctor. And surviving the duel was Armadillo, so Hydra went home. My first impression guess was the Three Amigos, Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Chevy Chase. And my final guess was Steve Buscemi and John Goodman. Robin's first, or they don't do first impressions anymore. They just do final guesses. I just give out my first impression. Robin said Matt Stone, Trey Parker. Jenny said Bert and Ernie, terrible guess. Ken said Will Arnett and Zach Galifianakis. Nicole Scherzinger said Will Ferrell and John C. Ryan. Nicole Byer said Penn and Teller. And who was it? Penn and Teller. Nicole Byer was correct. Good job by her. So the guest panelists were 2 for 2. Byer correctly guessed Penn and Teller, and then Eric Stonestreet in the second episode correctly guessed the Ram, who was Joe Buck. And so 2 go home tonight. And if I had to guess who are the 2 that go home, I'm going to say it is Armadillo. And, God, I hate to say this, but I think Miss Teddy goes home. As good as she was last week, I just don't think she's as good as the Ringmaster, who I think will join Firefly in the final, which would be probably in another month, because you would think they're going to do 3 more episodes with Group C. And then there's usually a bye week in there. And then the finale will be early. So the finale will be May 18th, which we're on pace for a normal finale this time. And so next week would be Group C. So the 27th and the 4th. The 11th will be the bye week. And then the 18th will be the finale. So that does stand in a normal time period for the show. All right, Survivor. Tonight's actually a 2-hour show, if I'm not mistaken. So that's really interesting. So last week was an interesting show. So it's essentially 2 episodes rather than 2 hours. But the preview for this week made it seem like it was a 2-hour show. So the immunity reward challenge was that the tribes raced over to a net obstacle before somebody untangled the braided rope interlaced with the key with a side puzzle, and then the key unlocked the machete that gave them access to the sandbags. And they threw the sandbags as slingshots to distant targets. And the first 2 tribes that hit both targets won immunity, as well as large and medium tarps respectively. And then the last place tribe had to forfeit their flint. Aika and Taku won immunity, and Taku had to rally. Taku came back and won. And Jonathan really was a big part of that comeback. And the tribe that went to the elimination tribal council was the green team, which is Vati. So the votes. There's a tie in the voting. Chanel voted for Mike. Hai voted for Daniel. Lydia voted for Daniel. Mike voted for Chanel. And Daniel voted Chanel. And then when they did the redo, Chanel did not have a vote. And neither did Daniel. Because they were the ones that tied. And all Hai, Lydia, and Mike all voted for Daniel. So that's really weird that Mike originally voted Chanel and changed his vote to Daniel. So a wild card for tonight's episode. Let's say if Taku goes to tribal, Omar doesn't have a vote. It's a little bit of a wild card because Chanel and Omar were at the decision game in the third episode and both chose to risk their vote. And as a result, both lost their vote at their next tribal council. So in terms of how many left, Ika is down to 4. Roxroy, Romero, Tori, and Drea. Taku's been at 4 for a while. It's Lindsay, Marianne, Jonathan, and Omar. And Vati is now down to 4. I, Chanel, Lydia, and Mike. I think they're going to split up a group in this week's show. They're going to split them up. I don't know which group they're going to break up. I think they're going to keep Taku together. I'm going to say that Vati's the one that gets split. I could see Ika staying together. Ika's been good. And I could see them putting I with Chanel with Ika and Lydia and Mike going to Taku. And Taku hasn't gone to tribal council in a while, so I think they're due. And if somebody were to get voted out, and I'm just thinking in my head, I'm going to predict that Mike and Lydia go to Taku. Last week I predicted Lydia to go home, and she's somebody that people were down on in the past. I think Lindsay's going to stick around. I think Marianne's going to stick around. Jonathan's going to stick around. He's amazing. Mike's going to stick around. Jonathan and Mike on the same team would be interesting. But I could see Omar potentially going home tonight in the right scenario. So I predicted how the groups are going to be split up because I heard that they're splitting up the groups in this episode. And I'm going to say Omar goes home. That's just a guess. All right, news and notes. We're going to try to get through this very quickly. So, Pat Beverly, after the game last night, they were very fired up on Instagram Live. He said, weak ass Clippers. He's just very bitter, or was very bitter that the Clippers let him go, and it's good karma for him that they beat the Clippers. You know how Pat Beverly is. Very loud and energetic. He isn't afraid of anything. Stephen Curry made practice this week and is making good progress in his foot recovery. Return for Game 1 against the Nuggets is still to be determined. Kevin Durant was astonished by James Harden's lack of conditioning at the start of the Nets season. So that was a very interesting subplot that came out of this, which maybe forced Harden out of there because him and Durant weren't getting along potentially. LeBron likes Mark Jackson and would be very enthused by the prospect of ESPN analysts landing the Lakers job. That's surprising to me. I like Mark Jackson a lot as a person, but he hasn't coached in almost a decade. I don't think he's going to be the guy. He might get an interview, but I don't know if he's going to be the guy. Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy have flirted with jobs over the past several years. But I just don't think those guys are leaving ESPN. And I think that the Lakers could do better than Mark Jackson. I like Mark Jackson a lot. And if the Clippers lose to the winner of the Spurs-Pelicans game, get ready for some Tyronn Lue rumors. I already predicted Ty Lue to the Lakers, which I think is very interesting of a prediction. Next up, T. Higgins had labrum surgery and is expected to be ready before training camp. Hopefully, that is the case. Rams eyeing Stephon Gilmore as they've been in contact with the free agent corner. So that would be perfect to keep the Rams rock star era going. The Yankees observed a moment of silence after those affected by yesterday morning's subway station shooting in Brooklyn. That's really sad. Thoughts and prayers to those victims and their families. This is so sad. And Mark Stone came back for Vegas last night against the Canucks. Congress says the Washington Commanders appear to have broken financial laws and owe money to visiting teams and season ticket holders. I think there's more to this, honestly. I really do. And hopefully those parties get their money. Monty Williams of the Suns is voted as the NBCA's Coach of the Year for the second straight year. That's not the real Coach of the Year award, in my opinion, but is the CA's Coach of the Year, and he's won that for a second consecutive year. Cuban officials blast plan by the players who left for majors to field their own team in the World Baseball Classic. So they had a plan to field their own team. So the Cuban officials were not happy about that. The Braves broadcast crew couldn't stop laughing last night after Travis d'Arnaud pretends to be hurt by D. Strange Gordon's 52-mile-per-hour pitch. That was so funny. Alyssa Nakin of the San Francisco Giants becomes the first female coach on field in a regular season game when she took over at first base. That was so cool to see. Hopefully we see more women in the game. We talked about the passing of Gilbert Gottfried in the Masked Singer segment. Thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. Just a sad situation there. Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin resigns after arrest in alleged campaign finance fraud. So that is not really surprising that he resigned. I think there's going to be more that comes out of this. He was the lieutenant of New York behind Kathy Hochul. He pretty much replaced Kathy Hochul, too, when she got promoted to replace Governor Cuomo. Eric Adams says that Frank James was a suspect in the Brooklyn subway shooting. And he said the city's looking into why cameras weren't working at the station. So that's just a sad situation in Brooklyn yesterday. And breaking news coming down right now, actually sports related, that the Pittsburgh Penguins were selected for the Winter Classic as the Bruins' opponent, which will take place on January 2nd next year. So that's awesome two contenders from this year. Hopefully both teams are good next year again. But that's going to get a good rating number for sure. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. There's some interesting choices that I can go here for best bet. But the hard part is where to go. I like a lot a lot of baseball underdogs. But this is tough. Jesus. This is such a hard call for best bet. I really do like that Oakland Rays over. That's what I'm going to go with for best bet. Over 7.5 between the A's and the Rays. That is low. And I think that a bullpen could potentially collapse here. So, give me the over 7.5 between the Rays and the Athletics for best bet of the day. All right, so that's it for today's show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything, looking ahead to everything tomorrow. Early leaderboard for the Heritage Classic. Then news and notes and best bet and power rankings for the NFL tomorrow as we approach the draft in a couple of weeks. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.